welcome everybody to the premiere episode 1019, The Watch Commander. And this is our first show. We're simulcasting on the 1019 channel and the
Shots fired.
the Police Applicant podcast channel. We're going to do this on this very first show only. And we got a big, this is a big crowd here tonight, Mike.
I can hear it. Boy, you're in a wild place.
It's busy here. It's busy here in another room, but yeah, we want to welcome our special guest, John Baylis, retired LASD Lieutenant, Captain Mike, and myself, Ken Roybal. And this is we're really happy that everybody's here. First off, before we even get started, man, in business needs to be taken care of. Okay, so zippity doo dah.
Zippy
is here, and
Mama.
We got. GJ Goldwyn is here.
Oh,
he looks happy. He looks happy to be here. So only anxious one has followed us over here as well. And I just want to mention that this program, this is going to be kind of a no holds barred and unscripted. We're just going to be like every week or two, we're going to be on here and just shooting the crap with whoever comes in the room, and we're just going to talk about a bunch of cops getting together, talking about whatever cops talk about, right? So
I can't talk about women. My fiance will kill me.
So there's a lot of, and we're just going to throw the comments up. As long as you don't say anything mean, we're going to throw them up there. So
exactly,
you guys. But let's, Mike, let's do this thing.
We're ready to go. I want to thank John for agreeing to be the first ceremonial cow that we're going to slaughter here.
Yeah.
First, I want to know, John, how long were you a Chippendale model?
I was going to say that.
Did it fall through? Yeah.
There was a Chippendales model that was an LASD deputy that was IOD, and he got busted for dancing.
Oh yeah,
He was also on. Remember American Gladiator?
Yes.
TV show
Yes.
He was on that show too. He was on a lot of shows.
Well, I'll tell you what. He was working at a Chippendales back in Florida, and our ICIB went out there, and he's up on the stage. He's supposed to have a bad back, and he's swinging this girl around in the air, and jumping up and down and doing the splits with her. And unfortunately for him, I think he lost his job and got convicted of some shit.
That was back in the 80s too, I think.
Yeah, a long time ago.
And that was not John, as far as
it was not John, as far as I'm aware.
No, it wasn't.
I'm not.
I worked with him at CJ when I first came on.
Yeah, you reminded me of that American Gladiator thing. It made me laugh. But John and everybody else, this is going to be, our format is no format.
No format.
It's going to be just like we got off shift. We're tired. We should be going home, but we're not. We're drinking a beer with our buddies.
That's what we're doing. That's where
we're at. But I did want to do some semi-serious stuff with you, John.
Okay,
just
serious.
Since you're the first one to come on. I'm curious as what led you to a career in law enforcement. Why did you pick that as opposed to something else?
Well, I used to be a professional boxer too, but since I was a little kid, since I was 5 or 6, always saw cops around. They looked sharp and everything. But what really got me, there was 2 LAPD guys that were killed on a domestic violence call in LA. An Asian guy and a white guy. That's all I remember. They were walking up, and the domestic violence guy killed them both, and he was later killed by LAPD. But they lost their life doing a job, and it struck me hard. And I said, I want to be a cop. And that was from 5 years old. And when I graduated high school, there were 500 people in my graduating class at Verdugo Hills. Oh, wow. There's probably 72 firemen, and I think 3 in my class, 3 cops. Me, a guy named Glenn, I won't use his last name, with LAPD, and then another guy with another PD. but yeah, since I was a little kid, ever since that shooting. And then, during high school, and when I just got out of high school, my dad, worked at the studios. He was a carpenter, built all the sets and all that. Well, he knew Ken Osmond from Leave to Beaver.
Mm-hmm.
And Ken had just left LAPD after his shooting, where he was in pursuit, and a guy turned on him, shot him 3 times in the vest. And Ken came to my house.
Oh, wow.
And we sat and shot the shit, and what a nice guy. Just a delightful guy. And we talked about LAPD and the sheriffs, and I was leaning towards sheriff's, of course, like all the LAPD guys. You got to work the jails first. I go, so, but it was a great talk, and he really made me see I still wanted to do it, but mainly I think he brought him home to make sure my mom understood that I could handle the job, because she didn't want me to be a cop.
Yeah, Ken Osmond caught one in the belt buckle too. That kind of messed him up a little bit, though. I think he got some PTSD from that.
You can't blame him.
Yeah, having somebody try to kill you.
I think I'll go back to Leave the Beaver. Yeah.
I've always wondered. He looked really like a slight type of person to me. Like, was he very tall? Was he really thin?
He was about 5'11", I think, if I recollect. But he was lean. He wasn't big and buff like me or heavy set. He
like me.
He was lean, thin. I would guess at 5'10", 5'11", probably about 180 pounds.
Yeah.
Just guessing, but that's my recollection of 30 some odd years ago or more, 40 years ago.
Yeah. Hey, going back to the jail. I never worried about going to the jail because it turned out to be a real good training ground for how to deal with a whole bunch of jackasses in a relatively controlled environment.
I agree.
Wild times.
What bothered me, I went to MCJ, Men's Central Jail, and what my first assignment was the ding tank, dinglings, all the nutcases in 4500 on 4000 floor. And
Eddie
it
Haskell.
was the newer part.
Zippy
so you had
Eddie Haskell.
Your office, and you had a walkway all the way down. It's all glass and walls, and you can look at all the inmates, make sure they're not hanging themselves. And I'm totally not into. I'm pretty naive. I was a boxer, but I'm naive to certain things. And next thing I know, I've got shit being thrown at my windows and everything else. The inmates are taking a dump. They're throwing shit and pee and everything else. I was like, what the am I doing here? But it was an eye opener.
I bet, man. I'm sure we all have stories of that place, man. It's just it's timeless. Just old, rank, linear style jail that should be shut down, frankly.
Oh yeah, I think they're about to, aren't they?
I could have been on LASD, but I failed the oral. So there.
Really?
Yeah. I was the last oral of the day, and I didn't know what I was doing. And you could tell the sergeant who's giving me the oral, he was like in his last oral, he did not want to be there, and I already knew immediately I was going to fail. But then, so that's
right. It worked out, right?
Yeah, he wanted to get his ass home. Would you take it down at the hall?
I don't remember where it was. This was in 1979, I think. So I can't remember that far back.
Yeah, I came on January of '80, so you'd have been right in that same group.
I came on in 1978.
Oh, see how you are? So you're
the one who fucked up the jail for us.
Yeah, right. No, when I was in the jails, the guys before us, we were a class 190. We went in there, and the inmates all walked on the right side of the walls in line. I went back some 15, 20 years later, maybe 15. I was a sergeant. I had to interview a guy that tried to escape NCCF. And I go in, and the inmates are everywhere. There's nothing was.
Yeah.
The nuts were in charge of the mental asylum.
Yeah, they were just like strolling in the hood, man. They used to have right shoulder on the wall, hands in your pocket, no talking.
Yep.
So I think the jail was much different back then than it is now.
I was just talking about the jail. As a matter of fact, CJ, when we were on, you would have people that were drunk driving or derelict in the same area with gangsters, with murderers and rapists and robbers. All of that lower population is gone now. I mean, you can walk into a module and it's nothing but felony, hardcore gangster assholes. And I don't know what they're going to do with them. They're talking about shutting CJ. If they do, you're going to have what's in there now. I don't know, 5,000, probably all felony, probably all the way to trial.
There was 21,000 when I was there. It was overcrowded. We had them in dorms stacked up on bunk beds.
Yeah, in the day rooms, in the hallways.
And the roof, the gym on the roof. They were sleeping up there. That's how
John, I was sad when they closed Sybil's house. That hurt me. And then we used to go to Sybil Brand, and then when they closed it, we had to go all the way to Van Nuys jail, and that was a pain.
Oh, man.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
So, that was a fiasco anyway, because Sybil's house was still good, but they put the women down at CRDF, which is meant to be a high security male jail. So you lost all those high security male beds by putting the females at CRDF.
I didn't understand that move at all. But that's my own personal opinion.
Well, I share that opinion. So let me ask you, you get out of the jail and all hell breaks loose. You got any stories?
What, in the jail?
Let's get to it.
No, get to the good shit, man. Some shooting and criming and driving fast and going in pursuit.
Well, I went on vacation in December 81, and the week I came back, they said, hey, congrats. I'm like, what am I congrats for? Because I put in for Firestone and West Hollywood. And
sexy.
God damn, that guy's good looking.
Woo!
And,
who is that guy?
And he's buff.
That one guy looks that guy on the right looks pissed off, man. What's going on?
Yeah, I went to West Hollywood in 81.
Okay.
Look at that.
The many faces of John Baylis and his dog.
Yeah, the middle one was in Prescott golfing when I lived there, when I retired.
Yeah. The jails.
Yeah, it's yeah. Anyway, so you go ahead.
How long did it take you to get out of the jail and go to patrol?
Exactly 3 years.
That wasn't bad, right? For those days?
Man, you know what? I did 16 months.
What?
Did you go to
people
Firestone?
after me? Yeah, people after me were coming out, and they were going in 6 to 9 months.
Yeah,
those were good times.
Get them fast enough.
Yeah,
when I was working, I put in for Firestone, East LA, and West Hollywood, and I was number 1 to West Hollywood, and number 2 to Firestone, number 2 to East LA. And who picks first? West Hollywood.
Yeah.
So that's where I went. But it was fun.
You know what? I went out on a bilingual list to Firestone. I'm not bilingual, and I was out there about 3 months. My training officer's like, "You don't speak that Mo, do you?" And I go, "What do you mean? You speak Spanish?" I go, "No, sir." And he goes, "Good, because otherwise we'd get all those Spanish-speaking calls." And he goes, "You're out here on the bilingual list." And I was like, "Well, I'm going to keep my mouth shut." And I could say quesadilla, margarita, chimichanga, but that's about it.
Taco Bell.
Oh yeah, yo quiero Taco Bell.
There was a poll taken a few years ago, I'd say within 5-7 years ago, that America voted that Taco Bell was the best Mexican food in America.
Oh God.
Like what? Oh man. So I want to ask you, well, both of you guys, who's the sheriff when you both got hired?
Pitches.
Yeah, mine too. But he was sheriff, but he was out, and Block was doing the long-term IOD thing with Pitches out. Yeah.
What was he like?
John,
Pitches.
What was Pitches like? Yeah.
Well, I can only tell you what I heard because I didn't deal with him other than shaking his hand one time. But he was tough, but he backed his troops. People loved him, and from what I understand, he was also a skirt chaser. But I don't know. Those were rumors back in the day. But I'll tell you one story when we were at CJ. we're down in the men's in the officers' dining room getting our lunch, and one of the guys from my class who's since passed away, big guy, he goes into the freezer and he's looking around. He pulls out a couple halibuts and he fries them up. And he's eating these halibuts, and the head cook, the civilian cook, comes over and goes, "Where'd you get those?" "Oh, out of the freezer. Look, there's a ton of them." And he goes, "Oh no, those are Pitch's private supply of halibut." And you never seen a deputy turn so white in his life. But he ate them, and then we got out of there, and nobody said anything about it. And that was the end of it.
Do you know anything about what GJ's talking about?
Yeah, he was there when I was there. He was a reserve down there.
What's a skirt chaser?
What's a skirt chaser?
Come on, JoJo. Chasing girlies.
The girlies, the skirt chasers.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, it's interesting.
Okay, I use old lingo. What? Yeah, hey, yo.
Somebody made mention of choir practice in one of the comments somewhere. I forget where it was, but so choir practice. What do you guys know about choir practice, and what is the mystique of the choir boys?
That's on the wrong side of the tracks, Phil.
So they were asking about that. I don't know if you guys had that or not.
No, we named it different just because you guys use that term.
Yeah,
Fine.
exactly.
What
you
did
guys
you
had that
name
movie
it?
named after you too.
We did not.
Joseph Wamba thing. What did you guys call it?
Getting
Just going up
hammered.
for drinks. Team meeting.
That's the official name.
No.
Staff
Go to the
meeting.
go to the
Staff meeting
shortstop. I'll
afterward.
see you there.
Sure.
You know what?
Exactly.
I'll tell you
West
one thing though,
Hollywood, I
Ken.
can't remember the place in West Hollywood. I started with an R, but yeah, every place has got a good cop bar. But you know, we just meet people and have a few drinks. You know, I worked graveyard when I first worked at CJ. Then also when I first went to West Hollywood, and I'm working EMs, from 11 at night till 7 in the morning. And my problem with working those hours, my body never adjusted. So I tried going to the gym and working out, and then I'd go to sleep 4 hours. Then I thought I'd go and have breakfast with the guys, go home 4 hours. Then I went drinking with the guys. And after a couple hours, I'd go home, I'd get 4 hours sleep. I never got more than 4 hours sleep. But we, West Hollywood guys, we went to, I can't remember the name of it. I know Sloan's was one that we went at night, but during the mornings, started with an R. I can't think of the name of it. But every station's got a place that you go.
Well, I know that when I was in the jail, we'd also go to LAPD on payday Wednesday, right? Oh, that was a big one, man.
Was it Pistol Club? What do they call it?
Yeah, Pistol and Revolver Club, I think.
Yeah, the Academy. It was at the Academy.
Time.
The Academy. We Only Anxious one. We used to go from in downtown. We used to go into watch on Wednesdays. Go to Chinatown, hit a bar there. I can't remember the name of it, and then we would scoot from there over to the Academy. That's where the Rock Garden was, and the Academy Lounge. And every other Wednesday we would go there and hang out.
Time. Well, there was a place in Chinatown we went to after CJ called the Lime House. And they had great little small tapas, bites, and great booze. But we referred to it as the Slime House because there were a lot of slimy people in there that you end up dating. But but yeah, we went everywhere. Yeah, we went up to the pistol range, the Pistol Club, Revolver Club with LAPD. A lot of our people went up there. A lot of the women.
I don't know if they do that stuff anymore. Do they? I don't even know.
I don't know.
I thought I heard during Willie Williams' time that among the other stupid things he did, I think he shut down the bar for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I don't know. It's too bad, though, because that was, man, that place was legendary.
Interesting thing about the Academy, it was built I think the Academy was built for the 1932 Olympics for the shooting range. And then the Revolver Club is owned by the police officers, and the city leases the land at Elysian Park to the Revolver Club. And that's where all the sports for the police officers
is from.
But yeah, that shooting range goes back to, I think, 1932.
Yeah.
Wow,
Good history.
Cool history. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Well, that's a nice little academy there. You know, when you walk
Bunch of
through there, you know, it's so old and so antique, but it's beautiful.
yeah. Yeah, we still go to the restaurant every once in a while up there for lunch.
They got good food. They got good food.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, somebody just commented about the mandatory overtime that nobody can go drinking anymore. Probably so.
Well, yeah,
You know,
they work
you know, from what I
16-hour shifts.
understand, they're getting hammered. The deputies. I don't know about LAPD, but I know sheriffs are getting hammered.
Yeah, we've had conversations about that. I know guys that are working triple doubles, and they're barely able to make it home. And I mean, in his state of the department thing last year, Luna comes out and he goes, "Yeah, I know it's problematic, and I know it's caused problems, you know, suicides and blah blah blah." But what's he done about it?
Nothing.
But
It figures.
At
And
this,
I'm not impressed with the new sheriff at all.
Nope.
At all.
I don't
hopefully
even work
he'll
for that department. I don't like him.
Yeah. Hopefully he'll be the ex-sheriff pretty soon, come 26, but we'll see.
Is that when you're going to be sheriff, Mike?
Oh, dude, I am a straight white conservative male. You tell me what kind of chance I have in LA County.
There you go.
You get like 2% of the vote.
Yeah, a full 2%? Yeah, all right, I'll take it.
Name recognition. So
a guy got a waiver to work 5/18s the other week. Whoa.
His waiver's not going to do him any good when he falls asleep on the road, man. It's just, and
exactly.
You put on top of that the burnout and the anti-cop bullshit and the department. You know, something happens that's good, there's crickets chirping, and when something bad happens, there's still crickets chirping because the department won't stand up for their people. You know, it's just. I think John, you and I,
right.
Well, you too, Ken. I think we hit it at the right time. You know, to go into that career and come back out.
Yep. Why don't you want to ride, Mike?
I feel sorry for my son that's still in an apartment.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's, you know, they say the pendulum swing like the pendulum do. Hopefully it's gone far enough to the left and it's going to slow down and start coming the other way because, you know, the department's just bleeding people. Oh, thanks, GJ.
You've got 3 votes already. You're like a shoe-in for sheriff.
I am.
I live in Vegas. I can't vote.
Yes, you can.
Why not? Why not? And you could probably vote 10 times from Vegas.
If I was a Democrat, I could.
If you were dead, you could vote.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, if I was dead, I could vote.
Yeah. Well, that's something to look forward to, I suppose. Yeah. But give me a shoot. You got to shoot any?
Not impressed.
John, you got any shooting stories? Have you ever blasted anybody?
Have you ever used your gun?
You ever pull it out?
Can't talk about that one.
Hey, you know what?
Let's talk about my shooting.
Let's talk about the fact that now when you pull your gun out of your holster, it's going to be pretty much considered a use of force.
Jeez.
Have you seen that, John?
What is that?
I've heard it.
I
tried to bring that around about 20 years ago, and it got shot down big time. And now they're doing this shit again.
You know, when I was in patrol back in the heyday, I probably would have done like 20 use of force reports just by pulling my gun out.
A day.
And yeah, I mean, it's just, I guess it's just mean. You look mean, you know, when you're trying to protect yourself. So.
Well, yeah, but what people don't understand, you're not always pulling your gun out like this and aiming at people. A lot of times you're approaching a car with 4 gangbangers in it. Your gun's out, but it's at the side of your leg. You're not pointing it down his throat yet. You're looking at their hands and everything else and to see if there's any guns nearby. Then you point it at them when need be. So that's not, to me, that's just ridiculous. That's not a use of force.
Yeah.
You're not touching anybody. You're not doing.
You know, it gives you that split second that you might need to stay alive, man. Yeah.
Yeah, and you got your gun out and ready already. That's the way it should be.
Yeah, Mike and I were talking about you'd be in your car. It's midnight, and some guy comes up to your car, and you would have your gun out, pointed at the door, and he comes up and talks to you, and so that
many a time.
you're gonna have to. What is problem solver talking about here?
Yeah, I wanted to mention that, the problem solver. It doesn't matter if it's considered a use of force or not. You're going to have 20, 30, 40, 50 PPI entries. And how long is it going to take before they start using those against you? I see you had 50 entries for pulling your gun out and pointing at the back of a... What if, God forbid, you get out of the car, your partner goes up, you're in the back, and what do? There's a carload of gangsters. You take a gun out and you raise it up toward the car, right? Man, you've done it. You've put your muzzle on, 4 people are now all of a sudden in danger of being pointed at, and you're going to have to report that. And what if it's something that you don't think you pointed at somebody, but they complain and they bitch that you did, and you haven't reported it? How do you convince people that you did not do that? You will lose. They'll make an entry and they'll say, he didn't report it. Maybe because it didn't happen. It's just... Okay,
exactly.
Hold on. You got me going now. I'm going to go.
Period.
I'm going to go back to that CHP shooting, the Newhall shooting where the 4 chippies got killed.
Yep.
They all right. Frago,
Right,
Allen, Pence, and Gore. I remember all the names. I lived in that area during that time. They 4 chippies confront these 2 assholes. I'm sorry, bad guys in a car. And when it's all over, the 2 bad guys drive away, and the 4 chippies are laying there dead. And when they went after the shooting, they found out that the guys who had fired their handguns had taken the time to empty the rounds into their hands and put them in their pocket like they were trained in the academy. How many split seconds did that take? And then the other chippy that had a shotgun out didn't jack around in the chamber because there was a little red paper seal on it. And if you cracked that seal, you had to report it. So he didn't crack that seal, and he's dead. Mm-hmm. And to me, we do not learn from the past. They're trying to placate the left-leaning anti-cop bullshit that people are espousing today, and it's going to cause that hesitation, and somebody's going to get their frickin' head blown off.
Yeah, Kevin's
right.
You're
Kevin's
right.
Exactly right. Exactly right. That's what helped get some chippies killed. That's going to end up killing a cop someday.
That's why you see these videos on YouTube where there's coppers and they're I don't know I don't even know what to call it. They're not wrestling with suspects, but they're like, stop resisting, and instead of just taking them into custody, they're lollygagging because what I'm told is that they don't want to get in trouble for a use of force, wrist lock, twist lock, whatever. Every time you touch somebody, you gotta do some kind of use of force.
Everybody's got a camera, and
if it's justified, it's justified. You use it. Period. I'm not going to hesitate, and I would never hesitate because some freaking idiot reporter with some idiot politician and an idiot sheriff that makes these stupid rules that are ridiculous with no common sense. I'm going home to my wife-to-be. I'm going home to her kids, my grandkids. Period.
I don't know what this one is about.
I don't know anything about it. I'm up north right now. Didn't hear about it.
I'm out of state right now. I don't know about it.
Yeah. I keep apprised of a lot of stuff, but some of it just pisses me off so bad that I stop looking for it. It's you turn on the news and it's just one bullshit thing after another.
Yep. But this I was sharing with Mike that this use of force thing with the pointing the gun at somebody, that's on a state form, use of force form. So when somebody does this stuff that's considered a use of force, does it go into some kind of state database and the department database? And then is there a trigger? Like you pulled your gun out 5 times and now you got to go to the watch 1019, the watch commander?
Well, it's not called PPI anymore. I know there's a new name somebody can pop up for me, but any incident like that gets reported goes into the system. And like I said, there'll be a section on there for probably whatever, displaying potential force or whatever they're going to do. You're going to have guys with 50 to 100 of them. And even though they're saying, oh, it's no big deal, they're going to use it for promotional purposes, transfer purposes. I guarantee you somebody's going to be shoving that paper up your ass. So, my understanding was it was going to be something that you reported to the sergeant, and the sergeant's the one that had to do the actual reporting of it. And if that's the case, it's official. Blah blah. Oh, got shot. Crazy
Squirrel.
Stop putting that shit up, Ken. I did not see it. It's a chippy case. I didn't see it.
Look, Mike. Look.
No, I didn't see it. I
didn't see it.
I'm out of state.
Frankly, I don't watch a lot of news. I do research later when I hear something, but I get sick watching the news.
You know what? I can watch about 20 minutes of a news show, then I got to walk away and decompress and drink because all of it.
Yeah, that
all
Diet
of it.
Coke is going to kill you, man.
No, well, you know what? I'm not drinking that shit. I have lost 18 pounds, brother.
I couldn't tell.
In about 6.
I mean, that's good.
In about 6 weeks.
From what?
I do tea and I do that, the ice drinks and stuff like that. I'm doing that intermittent fasting. Don't laugh.
Whoa.
It works.
It works for some people. Yeah, it does.
It's working for me, and I'm happy with it so far. I got a lot more to go, man, but it feels good getting rid of it.
Good for you. Well, the problem with Cokes and Diet Cokes, that type of stuff, regular Coke's got too much sugar in it. Diet Coke's got the fake stuff, which is as bad, if not worse, than the regular sugar, and it messes with your glycemic value. So your blood sugar is doing this, and you gain fat like that.
My glycemic values are none of your business.
Yeah, that's private. That's private.
How dare you?
That's healthy. That's good.
Your glycemic value shaming.
Weren't you saying that John
I'll tell you, I don't do intermittent fasting. I'm Italian. We don't fast. We eat.
You were telling me, Mike, that John he's a stud muffin, right? He's like.
Well, you saw the picture of him looking all mad and everything.
Yeah. Look at right there, that one in the red shirt.
Look at that.
That's
Whiskey
212,
Tango Foxtrot.
48-inch chest.
Check that out, guys.
Yeah, have you seen my 28-inch pythons?
I don't want to keep that picture up too much because I know Zippy's watching. So
yeah.
Like that. So what do you? I mean, do you work out? Do you lift weights and you
every day
nutrition and all that stuff?
5 days a week. I did elliptical today for about an hour and a half.
Well, you're pretty far behind Mike.
Weights 5 days a week.
Mike stopped drinking Diet Coke, so you need to catch up.
No, you know what? He'll post something. He'll say, now I'm doing these 8,000-pound reps on whatever, and I'll show me drinking a beer. So here, I'm working on my biceps today. Yeah.
Oh,
man. Whatever.
Hey, but I've been working out for 47 years, so.
Hey, Ken, it just reminded me something that John posted. I want to ask him a question. John, how the hell did you eat 6 Cupid chili dogs in one sitting?
Easy.
How do you do that?
I don't normally eat that much anymore, but back when I was a kid, back when I was a deputy, in West Hollywood, you had Pink's and you had Tail of the Pup. And then in the San Fernando Valley in Tarzana, I can't think of the name of it. There was a hot dog wiener factory or something. I can't remember the name of it. That also had great German potato salad. But Cupid's, most of them are closed now. The one by Van Nuys Court used to go there every time we were in court. I'd come out and gobble a couple down and go back to court. But and the one by CSUN, that's gone. So I went to this one in Winnetka on the way out to Agoura for a wedding, and it was great. But don't you remember one time we went to Subway or what's the other one?
Well, no. At one time we went to Cupid's, and then the other time we went to Quiznos. And you bought like 3 cows, And
I had two 12-inch subs. Hey, but I was lifting heavy then too. But I was I'm still a big eater, but not like that. I eat properly now. But yeah, I wolfed them down.
Six chili dogs from Cupid's is eating properly.
Well, when you got a cheat day, you got to have a cheat day.
I throw the buns out.
But he didn't drink Diet Coke, so there.
No, we had bottled water, but no, you got to have it. You got to have
Thank
the
God.
buns. They're steamed and they're soft and just perfect bread.
Oh,
and when you
Cupids are
bite into
great.
that hot dog, the casing cracks. That's you got a good hot dog.
Now I'm hungry. Did you guys work together?
Yeah, a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
And
But
yeah,
we went to Quiznos. I get 2 subs, and he's like, "What the hell?"
Well, no, it wasn't the buying them; it was the eating them afterwards. I was just like, dude, how do you do it?
Yeah.
GJ, did you go to Okie Dogs?
GJ brought
Pico
up
and
Okie
Brea?
Dogs.
Was that Pico and La Brea, Okie Dogs?
Yeah, Okie Dogs, the original one on Santa Monica Boulevard. It's no longer there. Now it's a fat burger. But
we used to go to the one in Pico and La Brea over there. That was good.
Yeah, we used to go to that one, and to get off training, you had to eat one. And it was a big, giant tortilla with a couple hot dogs sliced lengthwise with kimchi, that sour fermented cabbage from Korea, and beans and cheese and everything else. So I wolf it down like, boom, in case we got a call. And I go, hey, that was good. I'm going to go get another one. And McSweeney, Bill McSweeney, he was a deputy, and Mike T.O. and a whole bunch of other guys were there. And I go, I'm going to get another. They're all looking at me like, what the hell? I wolfed down another one. It was great. Piece of cake.
Did you guys ever go when downtown near the jail? There was a place called the Pastrami Burrito.
I never was there.
Yeah,
it used to be.
With Del Tepeyac a lot.
Yep. So now that you guys are really old, much older than myself, but
I'm the oldest one here.
There you go. What do you make of today's police work? I've old school coppers. I'm always curious about how they think about that stuff. But what do you think about today's police work?
I don't know. It depends. I don't see it every day, so I don't know what's going on. I just see what's on the news. I'll tell you why I stopped watching Cops when it was on TV. West Hollywood did the first one, and then they went to like Kansas City and these other states, and some of these guys were doing stuff that was so not officer safety, not proper. I'm just like, this is embarrassing. I quit watching the show because other PDs weren't trained like we weren't trained as much as we were, did stupid stuff. Now, today, I think the deputies out there are hard chargers and they want to do the work, but their hands are tied. They're handcuffed. They're handcuffing their left wrist to their right ankle because of all this crap that they're going through. There's a lot of good cops out there and they do a good job. I don't see it every day. I see a good bust every once in a while. I go, hey, cool, great bust. They got, 3 machine guns and 1,200 pounds of fentanyl. That's a great bust. So I don't know, mentally, I don't know. Every generation, those guys, the new guys, that's what they said about me too, and all the guys out of my class. And it turns out we were saying the same thing about the classes behind us. Yeah. But I don't know. I would say it's harder. It was hard to do our job, but when I was trained, you had the California legal source book with you at all times. And you read that thing all the time. And you knew what you could do, what you can't do, what the courts have approved, everything else. And you made some great arrests. I mean, you used it left and right. No, I lectured in the academy in the last several years that I was on, and I'd ask guys, regular guys, AOT, Advanced Officer Training, how many of you guys got the legal source book? You'd have 50 people there. You know how many have it? 3. When I went through, everybody had it. And you knew the law. And you knew what you could and couldn't do.
Yeah, and you got the updates when they came through. And
exactly.
I even contacted them and had one of the sections updated because we were smarty pants back then. But, one thing about today that really annoys the hell out of me is nationwide, there's, I don't know, what do we got, 500,000 cops or whatever nationwide. We're pretty well trained here, but you have some huckleberry in Snake Shit, Arizona make a stupid arrest or a shooting, and all of a sudden every cop in the fucking United States is just like Snake Shade, Arizona. It's they
That's
pile
true.
on. Yeah, they don't have posts, obviously, because California's got posts. I'm sure they've got some regulatory agency, but some of these guys, they slap on a badge, they give them a shooting iron, and they go out there and they're going to go out there and do the police work. Well, it's apples and oranges. There are people. I mean, a lot of great cops across the country. We all know a bunch of them, and
Absolutely.
it is still a great profession to be in. But man, they just the public, and not even all the public, the vocal jerks are making it so people are walking away from the profession. And
I
then
agree.
what are you going to get as a result? You're going to get people that aren't necessarily qualified to even do it, but all of a sudden they get to be in line because all the good people are gone.
Yeah, it's true. And, between the politicians and then you get the woke police chiefs. And if people out there don't know, a police chief is an at-will employee. He has to interview for the job with the city council, board of supervisors, whatever it is, wherever you live, and they approve you and they can fire you for at will. A sheriff is voted on by the people. So you can't have some idiot politician say, well, I'm going to fire you. Good freaking luck. But what I'm getting at is a lot of these things, when they had that summer of love with all the BLM riots and Antifa riots a few years back, a lot of those police departments did not do their job, did not put a stop to the rioting, destroyed Ferguson over by St. Louis, destroyed other cities. Just people were injured, raped, beaten, and they sat there and allowed it. In my time, and I tell you right now, I think my department right now, they would not allow it. Because we were always trained to be leaders, everybody, not just the cop, the sergeant, the lieutenant, the captain, blah, blah, blah. The deputy has to be a leader. And you get out, like, look at the school shootings. The one where they were afraid to go in, the one had the school cop that
Uvalde,
stayed outside, was
Texas.
afraid to go in. And then even his backup never went in. But then you got the latest one. I can't think of one last year. The cops were phenomenal. I mean, they were inside, boom, like that. And they took that piece of crap down. They did police work the way it's supposed to be done. Not afraid. They just did it. They were leaders themselves. And that's what you need in police work. But unfortunately, they're building less and less leaders on purpose.
Yep.
Yeah, I
And
agree
there's
with
stupid
that.
rules like this use of force rule with the gun. You take your gun out of your holster, it's use of force. No. But, when you do this stuff, when you have people that are making these rules, they don't want you to do police work. They don't. There's a mindset there of defund the police and everything else. It's bullshit. But there are great cops out there. And I think my department still has a shitload of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's just some of the leaders, i.e. the sheriff, suck.
They're not leaders. They're trying to manage, and they're not doing a really good job of it.
Yeah, management and leadership, totally different.
Yeah, talking about Uvalde real quick. I remember when that murder rampage happened at the school. I told myself, you know what? I would rather die in a hail of gunfire as opposed to sitting out there and living through the fact that you let a bunch of kids get killed.
And you can hear them getting shot.
Yeah, it is shocking to even think back that not one of those guys had the huevos rancheros to just say, screw this and go in. It's incredible. And, shame on them. They get to live with it for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, you're right. And look at the Trump shooting. Supposedly now they're saying, and I mean that first day, the cop sniper or whoever it was, sniper that killed the bad guy, said he had radioed 3 minutes before the shooting, asking the supervisor if he could shoot. Well, number one, in our department, you got a guy there with a gun on a roof and he's not one of us, you take him out now, period.
Yep.
You don't ask for permission. That's the rules of engagement, because you're there to protect the president. I mean, come on. But he asked, he ended up shooting the guy, but he was told no, but that supervisor should be in jail. My own personal opinion.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Lord knows you've got a couple.
A few.
Yeah,
that was a big.
Ken,
What?
you need to quiet. You need to quiet down. You're getting interfering with all the conversation here.
I got.
Okay.
You know what? I got questions. But if I interrupt you, I'm just going to do it.
Do it.
So
Go for it.
That Secret Service stuff was just. That was a failure and a half, man. The stuff that went on, and they just keep, every time I think, oh man, they sure got the Secret Service now. They sure got them. And then they go, new video surfaces showing this. And then that just keeps coming and keeps coming. And they had eyes on the guy for like, what, an hour or some kind of crap like that. And that whole thing. And this is, and the Secret Service guys, that's the elite of our federal government.
Well, yeah, especially the females that couldn't find her holster. Very elite people. And she's definitely not elite.
Well, and there was no interoperability with the communications, and it sounds like the Secret Service was just like they had their tail in the air. Hey, we don't need to deal with you guys. I mean, they didn't go to the meetings. They didn't allow the local cops to have their radio banned. It's like, and then you've got one of the females there. She did a great job. She's probably 5'4", and she's trying to block a shooter from that 6'3" president, and it's like, what the, I mean, she did what she could. I saw that, but the other one you're talking about, oh my God, the one that couldn't put her gun in the holster if you paid her, and it's like, I wonder where she is now. They probably promoted her, and now she's in charge of the Western Hemisphere. I don't know.
You're probably right. They probably promoted her. But
there's another.
Did you see his, the next night or whenever it was the rally? He had 6'5" Secret Service agents.
Yeah, they were different.
They finally got their head out of their butt.
There was a video at the hospital following the shooting. That same female Secret Service agent was out, waiting for the car to show up, and she was doing the same thing she did at the rally, trying to, do I pull my gun out? Then she put it back, and she goes, do I pull it out? Like they must have given her a handout before DEI. This whole thing went, you're going to be assigned to protect Trump. Here's a handout. This is what you do. And then she didn't read the whole thing because,
it's pretty sad. Pretty sad.
The Xerox was faded. Yeah. She couldn't read it. Yeah. But if you, every time I think about it, you go back and half inch to the right, he would have gotten his head blown off on national TV. And I think that probably would have caused a little bit of internal strife in the United States.
Yep.
And, they can say what they want. It's that old thing. You had one job. You had one job. I would demote, fire, transfer that entire group, man.
I totally
agree. Just ridiculous.
But that's
I could have.
Too. You're talking. They never had any meetings with the cops.
Yeah.
That's what they do when they come out and they want us to do warrants. One of our deputies in Santa Clarita was murdered because of ineptitude of the marshals, federal marshals.
Yeah, Jake Kardashian.
Yep. Because they told us he
true.
was not a problem. It's just a simple search warrant. He might have a gun. They didn't tell us that he was a gun runner. They didn't tell us he was an informant. They didn't tell us any of that stuff. And we're trying to run him. Well, I wasn't. And he comes up and he gets one. Yeah, just because the feds think they're God's gift to law enforcement and they have no clue. And most of those feds, there are some good feds out there, but most of them ought to go ride a rodeo car down in Century Station and learn what police work is.
Yeah, I remember as a result of that, Santa Clarita stopped backing the feds up on any of their cases. It's like, you guys are on your own. Yep.
Oh, absolutely.
I got nothing against the FBI, but I remember in 1981, I was on days, we went to back up the FBI on a search warrant. And we're sitting there doing all this tactical stuff and like hiding as they knocked it. And the FBI guys, they were walking in front of the windows in their loafers, going back and forth, hoping that the guy would open the door and stuff like that. That was my first taste of the FBI. Nothing against FBI people. That was just my experience with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, they've got some good
course.
ones too, but we always call them famous but ignorant, right?
yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Hey,
But
Mike.
that's why in a lot of the movies you see the cops and the FBI are like this in all the movies. That's
Oh, yeah.
real.
Yeah, that's true.
Probably
Yes,
the only
Ken.
real thing in that movie, but that's real.
Yes,
Something
Ken.
was going on. I want to say in the 90s or something, or maybe it was the late 80s, where Chief Gates, LAPD, was having a pissing contest with the FBI about who would have some kind of jurisdiction over something, and he did not want them there. But I don't remember what that was
Can't
about.
blame them.
Yeah.
Mike, did
Trusting
you?
now.
I feel like there was something about the LAPD chief selection coming up that was on.
Oh, hey,
radar.
we skimmed right over that. I understand that Ken, through all of his multiple clandestine sources, actually has. I'm going to play Joe Biden. Has some of the names.
Some names.
So he has some names. Why don't you throw those names out and we'll badmouth them and we'll talk about them.
Let me see what I remember. There was Bobby Arcos, former LAPD, now works for Gascon's office. There was Jim McDonald. Amada Tingrides.
Yeah,
was
Mata
3.
Tingrides.
And originally it was Art. What's that Art's name?
Asshole Vado.
Acevedo?
The carpetbagger. Yeah, we'll talk about him.
And I think maybe there might be one more name, but I'm not sure if we're allowed to.
Hi, FBI.
Hi, FBI. Hi, FBI.
How you doing? Love you, baby.
I don't know if I'm allowed.
They probably got it all fucked up anyway. They don't have volume or something on. I know that people are going to have their own say in some of this. I think the one that really galled me was Asolvedo. The guy, he is the classic definition of a carpetbagger.
Yeah.
He's gone state to state. He was in Miami, got kicked out. He was in Houston, got kicked out. He was in Austin, got kicked out. And he's like a snail, he just goes around and he's come out here thinking that he is the one. And my belief is he just wants to be top cop somewhere. He doesn't give a rat's ass about the city of LA. He's got no vested interest. He's got no buy-in. And I think he ought to just take a step back and step down. It sounds like he probably got booted out of the running anyway, but that guy should not be anywhere near LA County, LA City law enforcement at all.
How do you get to the top 6?
Well, asshole Vado. I don't know. Yeah, right. Oh, he's a male Hispanic. He's in, and now he's out. He
straight up got fired by Miami.
Yeah, and he got. Where was the last one he thought he was in, and they fired him before he showed up.
It was Austin. him and the city manager had a little handshake. Mm-hmm. And then the city council threw a fit, so they go cancel that deal. So he was out of there, and wasn't he in Aurora, Colorado, or something too?
Yeah, I think he's been removed or asked to leave 3 different. Sonia, hey.
Sonia says he will not be the chief.
Yeah, that's
of LAPD.
Right. Well, if that's what Sonia says, man, that's it. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, and McDonald. I mean, I know he's an LAPD guy, but unfortunately for him, he has the same lack of skin tone that I do. I don't think they're going to pick a white guy for LAPD.
But what happened? What happened with McDonald? Because he was, I never met him, but I heard he was well liked at LAPD. Then he went to Long Beach, and I don't know what happened there. And then he went to the sheriff's, and he just fell off the pedestal. What happened?
You know what? He comes from an LAPD background. No offense to you, Ken. I love you like a brother. But they've got their own way of thinking that their way is right. And he came in and he started, the Titanic is sinking, and he's worried about the color of the buttons on your gun belt.
Bam.
And it didn't translate well. He didn't translate well. He didn't fit. He took Villanueva for granted, and he ended up regretting that because Alex was out there pounding the pavement, good, bad, or indifferent. But I don't I know Jim's working somewhere else now, but I don't think they're going to pick him. It's nothing against him, but I guarantee you it's going to be someone of color, male or female, black or Hispanic. My money, frankly, I'm thinking Imada is going to get it. But, because she's tight in the department. I understand some folks think Arcos is good. I don't know if that association with Gascon kind of concerns me, but Ken, I think I mean, is that something we should be worried about?
Which one?
Arcos Narcos.
I don't know, because when I heard, well, here's the problem with that is that he retired from LAPD and he became one of the head of Gascon's, one of his bureaus. And I'm thinking, why would you want to? That's just when you align yourself with someone like Gascon, it doesn't matter. Oh, we were buddies, we were pals. It doesn't matter. Gascon is such a moron.
He's toxic.
Why would you?
Very.
And then, so he's in the top 5-6 now, right, for LAPD chief. He's going to come from Gascon's office and become the chief. You're asking for a mass exodus of LAPD officers.
Huge. I don't think McDonald either, not only because he's white, but because he's been LAPD already. They don't want to go to them. It's, well, we're going back to the Daryl Gates era and all that. And I think they're just going to say, no, we don't want anybody that's already been here. We want new blood. And I think you're right on who they're going to pick. Who knows?
Yeah, I think if you use that logic, John, that would also kick out Arcos because he's the old school like McDonald is. And with Escovedo, yeah, but I mean, to me, that leaves Imada unless there's a dark horse that I'm not aware of.
I don't have anything against Arcos personally. I never met him. And from what everybody says, he's a nice guy or something like that. But I just think that that's going to be some baggage that the coppers from LAPD, when he left to go to George's office, I don't know if they're going to forgive that. I think they're going to see that as a betrayal. And I don't think they're going to receive him back. Now, Imada Tingrides, she's like the favorite. Everybody keeps saying she's the favorite. But my question about her is, she came up from, was she a captain? And then they immediately made her a deputy chief. And then I don't know if she missed a lot of ranks in there to get that.
I think she had the hook into the south side of town. She was dialed in down there with all of the the preachers and the.
But she's still currently LAPD though, right?
Yeah. And
that's the difference between her and McDonald. He left and went 2 other places. I just don't see bringing him back.
Yeah, I mean, I know her. She's a cool person, and I think she's smart enough to know that she's smart enough to know that she doesn't know everything, and she'll surround herself with some good folks. So I'm not worried about her. But a couple of the other ones, I'm just like, Lord, no, don't do that to our brethren over there in blue. But I guess it'll shake out. Bass is supposed to be making a decision here pretty quick, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. This is the month when it's supposed to be done, and there is another candidate that I'm hearing about, but I haven't been authorized to release the name. But that I think it's a deputy chief, and I think they're very well liked as well. So I think Imada and the other deputy chief are really well liked, and we'll see what happens. My other concern is that you're working for the mayor. And you got to toe the line, or you don't have a job, or how does that work? And I don't know. Yeah. I don't know how that works.
That's why it galls me when they talk about trying to do the same thing to the sheriff. What I like about the sheriff position is it's not beholden to anybody. The only thing the board can really do to them is screw with their funding, which they do in a lot. But this current sheriff, I understand. They're like, do some backflips. Okay. Stop doing that. Okay. I guess they've told him that they want him to get away from the find and bite dog so they can have the find and sit down and smoke a cigar dog. And the problem with that is going to be, let's say you've got a heinous crook that you deploy the dog on. It's got to be a bad one, right? Some armed robber hiding somewhere. That dog, instead of running up and grabbing his ass and dragging him out, is going to sit there and go, hey, he's over here, which gives the crook time which gives the crook time to react. It's the same thing as pulling your gun out or jacking around in the shotgun. Oh, you can't do that anymore. The dog has to just go up there and play pinochle with him, and we'll try to talk him out. Well, that's not how the real world works, man. I can tell you, I've seen those dogs. I'm sure you have too, John. They take down some bad mofros. Man, they jump in there. Those dogs have hearts of lions. They'll go
They're
in there
fearless.
and they will jump right through a car window, drag the guy out, kicking and screaming and asking for mama. Yeah. But instead, it's going to be, hey, buddy, hey, you got a light? And it's like, are you serious?
Yeah, I've seen that, Mike. Lawsuit on our
What's
department.
that?
A lawsuit about canines on our apartment.
Oh, so what? You get lawsuits about everything on the department these days.
The lawyer's one of our former deputies.
Which one? Who is it?
I can't remember the name. It was in the news the other day.
Give us a name.
And his thing is to get rid of the dogs.
Oh, yeah. I saw the guy, the knucklehead, whoever he is now. You know what? If they leave the department and they end up going against the department, they are the devil incarnate. That's all I can say.
Scum.
And it's like the other guy that's trying to make a big deal about that shooting up in Lancaster, and throwing out all this false information and all this BS. And then he turns around and he goes in and represents somebody on the department. It's like, who are you kidding?
You wouldn't be,
but
you wouldn't be my attorney.
Scum of the frickin' earth,
the one
man.
that he's screwing with, that kid, I saw that shooting on the video.
Yep.
Damn good shooting.
Yep.
And that attorney,
and you know what? Yeah, well, that's what they did. They had a press conference, and he's got this attorneys there with BLM and Cancel the Contract, which are two activist groups that are working up there to try to cancel the sheriff contract. And they're like, that deputy's been fired. The sheriff himself told me that. And it's like, that's not really true. That didn't happen. Well, you haven't heard anything about them retracting anything, have you?
Did this pass?
Yeah. Hey, Kevin, don't get me started. You know what? Good luck with them trying to do that. It would be an elected official trying to kick out another elected official. It's not constitutional, and I would hope that the next sheriff comes up and goes, I'm sorry, I'm going to do it my way. It's my department. And if they want to challenge that, take it to court and stuff it up their collective yahoos. Because it's, they put it in place because they were mad at Villanueva. Well, he had enough of his own problems. He's gone. And it wouldn't have worked then with him, and it's not going to work in the future with some other sheriff. You think about the constitutionality of we're 5 elected officials, and we're going to get together. In fact, you only need 3 of the 5, right? 3 of us are going to say that he needs to be recalled and he's out. Well, he probably got more votes than they did, and he's in charge of the entire frickin' county. They're in charge of a piece of the pie, right? Thanks, Kevin. I appreciate it.
And that's California unconstitutional.
Well, yeah, it'd be 2 constitutions, right?
Yeah. So I don't know how that works.
Well, the only way it would work is if it ends up going to court and they have to litigate it. And I think the sooner the better.
They get killed in court.
I think whatever sheriff comes in, good, bad, or indifferent, I pray to God it's a good one, comes in and says, you know what? I'm going to take you to task on that. You aren't mad at me right now, so we're going to go to court. And we're going to find out if it passes constitutional muster. It won't, and that'll be the end of it. And that sheriff can walk in and go,
Go. And make that face again.
And by the way, I want my money. Right? We need our buses, right? They've got 80 buses and they're down to 12 working buses. How does that work?
That's
and
horrible.
Nobody cares. Nobody says a word. The crooks don't care because they're not having to go to court. I'm sure a lot of cases are getting kicked because of that. It's just, and I think what they ought to do is they ought to hire an Uber for every one of them and Uber them to court. Because and what does the sheriff do? You don't know because he never does anything. All he does is he goes to little barbecues and you see him eating in and out, with the guys but what does he do? What decisions has he made? Where has he stood up for his people? Name me an incident where he got up and said, "That's wrong. You're misjudging our people and you're maligning the department." I don't know. I'll wait.
I don't know. Well, I think if I'm not mistaken, are we past our hour time?
Let me look and see. John, is your girlfriend there yet?
Yeah, the dogs are with her.
Oh.
Before we go, just want to ask, take an informal poll. Pick your favorite photo, 1, 2, or 3. Which is your favorite photo?
All three.
1,
all
2,
three.
Or you could say all 3.
It's
are your
a
favorite
tie.
photos.
I don't know. You know what? I don't like the one where it looks like he's going to kill somebody. That one scares me.
Yeah, that third one's kind of scary.
No, you're with the little puppy there. I used to have one of those bad boys, but
me too.
You know, then you got the Chippendale. You got the Chippendale guy in the middle, right? He's harmless.
Look at it.
But then you on the right hand side, the whiskey tango foxtrot, man, it scares the shit out of me.
And the
you know what that stands for, right?
Yeah, it's what the fuck.
The middle one has no goatee, so you guys can vote for that and like that. Before we go, I want to mention that this is being simulcast on both channels. Starting next week, it's going to be on the 1019 channel exclusively because Mike has a contract with the 1019 channel. And it's a multi-million-dollar contract. And
I paid big money for that. Yeah.
So, good.
He bought the owner of Taco Bell, so he got the channel.
Right. Hey, John, before we go, I want to thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you having me.
I knew you would.
Thank you. It's good to meet you, man.
I like the fact that we've got our own.
Did the old county supervisor or city councilman, Roy Ball?
No, there's Gloria Roy Ball Allard. She was a congresswoman, I think.
Yeah, she was. There's some kind of connection there, cousin or something like that, but through a stepfather. But
so she play daddy.
Okay. I talked to her daughter up here. She lives up here in Washington State.
Oh, wow.
And she calls me her uncle. So, but
there you go.
Yeah.
So pleasure meeting you, Ken. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, and we will. So we'll be back in a week on Tuesdays. Correct, Mike?
Correct, Ken. And I want to say we've got our own John and Ken, just like KFI used to have.
Johnny Ken.
Yeah.
Johnny Ken. All right, we'll talk to you guys next week. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Bye.